If a guy told you he was really tough, would you believe him? Would that be enough? It used to be, before you think perhaps that's a silly question. It used to be 100% the jumping off point. Wasn't even all that long ago. When this whole thing started in 1993, it was a show of hands. Here's what we're going to do. Do you understand the rules? Do you understand what I'm saying? Two guys are going to go in and there's going to be no restrictions. Does everybody, okay. Can you do that? Are you good enough to do that? That is 100% how it worked. Over time, you started to get some resumes. Over a larger period of time, you started to get some footage. You started to go what we call the regional scene. It was all the way until 2012 until we had a rankings system. And the ranking system isn't worth much more than the paper it's written on. Right? Anytime you have people that are ranking, but those people are unnamed, you see the problem. All right, but I'm just sharing with you, it went from 1993 to 2012. That's a very large period of time of simply asking somebody, are you tough enough to do this? And we had a number of charlatans that came in. They didn't know it about themselves. They truly meant it when they said it. There wasn't a bunch of money or a bunch of fame. They truly believed that they had a skill set that could transition over. Boy, I'm thinking of this one guy specifically. I don't want to call him out, though. I don't want to call him out. There would be no need because that would embarrass him, and I don't want to embarrass him because he was being sincere. I mean, he had DVDs and he was on covers of magazines. He was this, but he really believed it. Evident of the fact that when the opportunity presented itself to compete, he said, yeah, he really believed that he had the skills. So I'm not going to embarrass him, but I want to ask you the exact same question from the other side of the coin. If a guy tells you he's not good enough, will you believe him? If we say, hey, look, here's the rules. Here's the rules and here's what we're going to do. I mean, let's take again back to 1993, where there was an advertisement in the back of Black Belt magazine. Advertisement in the back of Black Belt magazine. Say that 10 times fast. And if you really wanted to do it, you would find that advertisement and you would follow up at the contact provided. If you really wanted to do it, and it was a struggle. It was 8-man tournaments at that time, and it was a struggle to get 8 guys to say yes. But now let me ask you a different question. You go into a gym, you watch somebody, you go, hey, that guy's pretty good. Hey, I think he could do this. Let's go talk to him. Hey, here's the skill set and the rules. Could you do this? I mean, I'm watching you and I'm saying, wow, I really think I see something here. If the guy says no, I am not a tough guy. I am not a competitor. I do not have that inside. I do not want to damage somebody else. I can't breathe hard for 8 minutes, like whatever the reason is, but if he comes to you and tells you no, would you believe him? If I asked any of you who the baddest dude in your high school was, you would all know. You wouldn't even hesitate. You would know. But what if that dude told you guys, hey, you're wrong. I see the way you guys talk to me, and I appreciate that you let me lead you, and I see that you respect my words, but I'm just telling you, I'm not that tough. Do you think you would still believe him to be the baddest dude in the school? Do you see where it's very important? Right or wrong, but do you see where it's important? And historically speaking, we believe guys when they answer the question, are you tough enough to do this? Because I woke up with very disappointing information today. I shared with you guys, right? It's the world's worst kept secret, but I'm still the one that came out and told you that the plan was Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria. The entire reason you don't keep seeing clips being played over and over of Paddy the Baddy in the ring with Ilia, which is the single greatest organic marketing you could possibly have for a business like this. And the reason that has been stymied is because Arman is going to fight Ilia. And there's no reason to use the Paddy footage just yet. Okay. Because I wake up today and Ilia says he's out. Ilia apparently has said that he's not going to fight until next year. Now, next year might feel kind of soon, but he hasn't fought in enough time. Is it 5 weeks, 6 weeks? I'm somewhere right in there. So he hasn't fought in this month or in the calendar year of last month. And we're going to run out the clock and then fight sometime next year. And what are you telling us? Because the rankings say you're number one in the world in front of everybody, any weight class, pound for pound. The category of 155 has you sitting on top. But you're telling us that you can't do it until next year. Shouldn't I interpret that to say as you can't beat the guys in your own opinion? I mean, should I interpret it some other way? Regardless of who the opponent was, let's say it's Tsarukyan, let's say it's Patty, let's say it's Justin Gaethje. We know for sure it's one of those three guys. If you're telling me you can't beat him in October, and you're telling me you can't beat him in November, and you're telling me that you can't beat him in December, don't I need to take you at your word, and don't I need to adjust the rankings accordingly, at least for now? Do I need to look a little further into bringing in an interim championship? What do you mean you don't want to fight? What do you mean you don't want to fight until next year? What does that mean? I have to assume that means that you believe you can't win. What else would it mean? You just don't like the sport anymore? You don't like the attention anymore? You don't like the money anymore? What part of it is that you want to do next year what could be done next month? I mean, how am I supposed to interpret that? And I've never understood why we keep guys in the rankings when they do something like that. I've never understood. Cain Velasquez. You've never heard anybody ever say a bad word about Cain. That's true. He is one of the most respected athletes in the history of the sport, but Cain had a period of time where he couldn't fight. I want to say it was his knee. And I could not believe that they kept Cain in the rankings. If he is openly telling you, I'm not even tough enough to go and try, don't even give me a name, because I can't beat any of them. I need 10 months, according to my doctor. Don't even give me an opportunity to try for 10 months. Aren't I signaling that I should not be ranked in front of the other guys that are saying, hey, I'm willing and I'm ready to go in now? I mean, I'm just wondering how to interpret this by Ilia Topuria. Now, I'm not turning on Ilia. I got Ilia number one. If it was not due to paperwork, Ilia would be your sitting 45, your reigning 55, and your defending BMF champion. If it were not for paperwork reasons, Ilia would be the most successful and decorated fighter of all time. I don't take that from him. But this is a very different narrative that I really wish I hadn't heard. I mean, all the guys start out the same way, which is give me an opportunity. I'll do anything. I'll fight anyone, anywhere, any notice, any weight class. Set them up, I'll knock them down. Stand back and let me show you what I can do. All of them start that way and then turn to, I don't want to do this. I will only do this when I have to. I will kick the can as far as I can go. The one way that I know that I can maintain my championship is to not defend my championship. And that's a very real thing. Tom Aspinall, no fault of Tom's own, but Tom Aspinall went down as the longest reigning interim champion in history. Now, he went down because Jon Jones didn't accept the fight, so he was able to keep the belt longer. But I'm just sharing for you, that's a lot of words, and that's not the way the history book works. It will simply say, Tom Aspinall, longest reigning interim champion of all time, of which nobody has explained to me or even tried to explain to me why Tom is no longer the interim champion. Now, I think that we are owed an explanation. I understand how Tom woke up one day and was the undisputed champion. I do understand that. I don't understand how we woke up one day and was no longer the interim champion. I know it happened. I don't understand how it happened. I'd like for somebody to try to explain that to me. because the presence of the undisputed champion apparently does not exclude the possibility of having an interim champion. So I think that it gets a little bit complicated, and I'm only sharing with you that words matter. Ilia has said, I don't want to fight until next year. I have to assume that means I don't believe I can win right now. And if the guy doesn't believe he can win right now, and you agree that in this sport, the very first thing we do is take a guy at his word, how do you interpret the words, I won't fight until next year?